I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd? And
it is against God. That is
so. Let me ask you a question.
Are you a Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy? Yes or no? No. Do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian. I
am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about Charlie Kirk again. And you know, I know that there's so much in the news going on about it, and it's all everybody's talking about. And some of you are probably growing a little bit tired and a little bit worn out from all this conversation surrounding this topic already. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be something that we're talking about for quite a while. And I am going to put out some other content in between some of our conversations about Charlie Kirk to give ourselves a break from all of this insanity. Everybody's tired. But one of the things I wanted to address today and discuss is a lot of the lies that are going around about Charlie Kirk, who he was, who he wasn't. And particularly, I want to address this issue of oppression, right? This word has been thrown around a lot in the internet spaces, been thrown around a lot in my comment section as well as the words racist, homophobe, bigot. The list goes on and on and on about Charlie. Before we get into this today, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I actually just recently did a little bit of a rebrand with Voices with Vicky. If this is your first time on the channel, I do social and political commentary from a range of various topics, from politics to LGBT discourse. If this is something that interests you, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Just go ahead and do it now. If you are here again and still haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I see you out there returning to the channel and not yet subscribing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit a like and share this content too if you want. So yeah, this thing about oppression, you know, there's people saying that he was an oppressor. And I can't believe that people have the audacity to come out and say this, because think about the situation that we were in last week. This man was murdered in cold blood, assassinated in front of his family, shot in the neck, and left to die and bleed out, and yet everybody's bitching that Charlie Kirk was an oppressor. What are we talking about? Because to me, the ultimate punishment of the oppressed is killing them. So this idea and this conversation about oppression is null and void as far as I'm concerned. But to me, that's just the tip of the iceberg with this, considering that they can't substantiate any of the claims that they're making. Because I think the bottom line is people didn't like Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk was a religious, Bible-believing man. So there are certain things that he in particular didn't believe in or didn't promote or didn't want you to do, yada, yada, yada. And what are you going to do? And the fact that that means that he can be taken from the world, and you know, nobody has a right. Nobody has a right to take somebody else's life, especially in the fashion that this happened. We're going to look at a few videos today that, to me, in my opinion, prove that Charlie Kirk was not a homophobe and was not this evil that people are depicting. They don't want to tell the truth. They don't care. They have a narrative to push, and they will do anything to push it, as we could tell from last week. And I keep saying they, because to me, anybody who knew about this in advance and didn't say anything, they're culpable in this. Anybody who's still defending this whole notion of Charlie Kirk's death and wants to sit there and talk about his oppression, I have a question for you. What isn't oppression anymore? Because it seems to me that there are no limits to the left and what they push and how they push it. They can't even define what oppression is anymore. They're doing the oppressing by doing what they did to Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, gave space for people on the left. These are college kids and young people, mostly, not all, but a lot of them, that would go to these college campuses or go to these rallies where you would have these debates. They did this on a voluntary basis. They did this because they wanted to. They did this because they wanted to engage in civil debate. And yes, Charlie put up with a lot of crap. There were people that would come up and just call him names and act like jerks and whatever. And that's going to happen. I mean, but the bottom line is, how was he an oppressor? I just don't get the picture here. We're going to get into it a little bit today, and we're going to look at a couple clips. We will stop in between a little bit and discuss them. And I encourage you to put your thoughts in the comment section.
So I do not have hate for a group. I do not have hate for a people. I have
So
hate
just
for
so I can get it on my camera. So Instagram,
Don't worry, we
hi.
got plenty of cameras, but yeah.
But yes, so you do not hate the LGBT community,
No,
and Turning Point is not against LGBT.
No, well, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not.
I mean, for me, basically what he's saying here is that he has some biblical beliefs that don't always jive with what everybody else thinks or feels, and he was just stating his opinion. That does not mean you should be unalived from the world. That's absolutely ridiculous. This is America, people. What are you talking about? And before you say to me, oh, well, he would actively try to get rid of your marriage and blah, 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 blah. He could go right ahead and try. Sure. I don't know if he would have. I would have loved to have been able to debate him about the issue of marriage, because that's something that in some respects I don't agree with him on. I guess it depends on how you're looking at it and what your perspective is. But he's not here to do that now, is he? Because you've ruined it for everybody to have open dialogue and open civil discourse. You've ruined it. This next one is really going to blow you away, because he pretty much is backed against the wall on this. And I can't believe what he says. And more people need to see this. So if you don't share anything else, share this part of the video. What you're about to see is going to blow your mind and show you how much he was not homophobic.
Hey, Mr. Kirk, thanks for coming out tonight. I got a question for you real quick. Up until about 5 years ago, when gay marriage was legalized nationwide, the conservative movement has been explicitly pro-traditional family. Now, both you and your organization advocate for the acceptance of anti-Christian, immoral lifestyles like homosexuality and transsexuality, going as far to invite drag queens like Lady MAGA to your events. It seems to me and anyone who's paying attention that conservatives just believe whatever liberals believed 5 years ago. Right now, there's a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and... Oh, excuse me. Phone shut off.
Go back to your notes. That's probably where you saved it. You know, you got to like push double tap and then go over.
Right now, there is a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and rebranding pedophiles as minor attracted persons. 5 years from now, will you be promoting child drag queen shows? Will child abuse become part of the conservative platform?
Boy, that's a slippery slope fallacy if I've ever seen one. First of all, I've never invited a drag queen to come to any Turning Point USA event. I was at Politicon, and an individual by the name of Lady MAGA came up, and I took a picture, and she walked away. Secondly, let me ask you a question. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
So are you a proud Trump supporter?
Of course.
So are you sickened that he had a gay man speak at his convention?
Yes.
Then you're not a Trump supporter, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me ask you another question. Should he return the money of Peter Thiel, an openly gay man who supports his campaign?
No, if it helps him strategically, sure
Okay.
he can.
Should he stop talking to Tammy Bruce, who's an open lesbian that's a Fox News contributor?
If it's affecting his ideas, then probably, yeah.
Okay, so you say you're a Trump supporter, yet you have all these issues and these disagreements with him. Let me be very clear about my position. My personal position. I'm a Christian first and foremost, then an American, then a constitutionalist, then a conservative. In that order. I believe marriage, biblically, if we want to have a biblical and theological discussion, as articulated in the greatest book ever to exist in the history of the world, the Holy Bible. Marriage in the Holy Bible is one man, one woman.
And you see, this is what people don't like, and this is what people think that Charlie's hateful about, right? That, you know, he believes biblically that marriage is between a man and a woman, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, that is something that came up a lot during the debates for same-sex marriage equality and all that. And it's been a thing. And it's been a thing in my life since I can remember. And, you know, I don't totally agree with it. I think I would have loved to have sat down and talked to Charlie about it myself as a gay woman and as somebody that still very much believes in the nuclear family, despite me being a gay person and all that. And, you know, I think he would have been very welcoming and understanding. And so this gets interesting, though. This gets interesting. So stay tuned here, guys. This is shocking.
I also do not believe in the sort of rhetoric that some people engage in, that all of a sudden that they say there's no place for gay people in the conservative movement. I do not believe that.
It's not conservative.
And let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question then?
Sure, go for it.
So, the American family, liberty, freedom, the Constitution, our history, veterans, that's what we're conserving. I'll get to you later though, don't worry. So let me ask you a question. If you had your way, what would you do with gay people in America?
What would I do with them? I wouldn't.
Yeah, because they're not allowed in the conservative movement. So would you just kick them out anytime they show up at a Republican Party? If you were in charge, like what would you say? You can't be part of the Republican Party.
If somebody is advocating for being openly homosexual, yeah, they should not be part of the conservative movement.
So I just want to go through the list. Guy Benson, no place in the conservative movement. Dave Rubin, no place in the conservative movement. Peter Thiel, no place in the conservative movement. So that just to go down the list.
If they are supporting open homosexuality.
So
yeah, no
I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd? And
it is against God. That is
so let me ask you a question.
Are you a Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy? Yes or no? No. Do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian. I
am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
Oh my God. Yeah, that sounds like a really anti-gay rhetoric going on there, guys. I mean, I'm totally being sarcastic, as you know. The only anti-gay rhetoric I heard there was from the guy asking the questions, and what a jerk, by the way. And he put people like that in their place, as he should, and as he did. So for those of you still wondering, you have it wrong. You have it wrong about how he felt. Maybe he didn't believe that, gay people should be getting married or whatever. And I could really sit here and talk about it for a long time. I wish he was still here so more of us could debate it, but you cut him off. But I will tell you this, he is going to rise more than ever in the humans that we are. And I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Stop lying about Charlie Kirk. Stop making stuff up. Stop cherry picking and using partial quotes for him so that you can villainize this poor man. It was assassinated in front of his family in a public setting, in front of thousands of people, and pretty much in front of the entire world eventually, because there's so many recordings of it. Horrible. And then we're still going to sit here and lie about who he was. I just think it's wrong. And even though Charlie Kirk disagreed with some of the things in my life, I will always defend someone's right to live and not be murdered. This is disgusting. It is against God. And it is against the truth. What has happened to this world that this is the society that we've become? All these people are screaming about oppression, but they did the very worst thing you could do to oppress someone, and that is to kill them.
I hope Harry Sisson has a long life. I hope he is healthy. I hope that he gets to have a family, have children if that's what he wants. I hope Dean Withers gets the same. I hope AOC, Kamala Harris, Biden, who we know is elderly at this point, but I hope all of them get to spend lots of time with their families. I hope all of these little Democratic influencers that have done nothing but spread hate towards me, towards anybody that agrees with me, has a long, happy life. How hard is that to say that? Because instead of doing that, you guys are all just continuing these narratives, continuing to try to turn it around on us in some way, instead of addressing that this needs to change. And you know what? I can be the bigger person, because genuinely, I hope all of you have long, successful lives. I don't need to agree with the words coming out of your mouth. I don't need to agree with anything you say to have basic human decency to hope that you all get to continue on this earth and have a successful life. Why can't you do the same? Watching Harry Sisson's videos these last few days has hurt my heart because he's not addressing what happened. He's trying to make excuses for it.
Yeah.
He's still trying to turn it around on us to make us the horrible people after everything that's happened. You know what though, Harry? I'll pray for you. And I do hope that you have a long, successful life. And I would never, ever tell my followers to wish otherwise.
I have seen a ton of that going on. I've had to block a lot of people. I've had to put some people in their place a few times that I think just need to hear it. And in fact, though, there are some people that in my life, actually outside of this, that I've just ignored or just brushed off their comment, because I think that some people right now are in a place where they're not ready to realize that some of their narratives that they've been pushing are in fact wrong, and that sometimes conservatives can actually be right. It's a journey that I've been on for a while. It's a journey actually that I've been on for years. And it started with some of the nonsense that went on in the LGBT community that made me get into this in the first place, as a lot of you know. And I was sick of it. I was done. And as I got into trying to combat some of that extremism going on with LGBT, I started to discover that there are a lot of really interesting things going on in the conservative movement with other gay people. And not just gay people, but people of all walks of life. I've made more friends in this stage of my life than I have ever. I am not a registered Republican. I am a registered independent. I've talked about that a lot before. I feel that that's just where I need to be right now. That is where I feel the most authentic. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I'm a conservative Republican, because that's just not a thing. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Hell, maybe the Democrats will turn 50 new leaves and be a brand new party tomorrow, and I could go back to being a Democrat. But I don't see that happening, because all I see is these people doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on all of this nonsense, even in the face of death of a person that wasn't that bad, that just said things that they didn't agree with. And that somehow equates to the punishment of death. What is happening? I keep asking myself this. When are you people going to wake up? You literally get evidence in front of your face that shows you that he wasn't the man that you're claiming him to be, and you still spew the lies. You still are enraged. You still put your hands up and say, oh, no. He's an oppressor. I really don't even know what oppression is anymore. What does that even look like? What happened to Charlie Kirk was oppression in its purest and darkest, most horrific form. So I don't want to hear about oppression anymore.
A lot of Black people subconsciously want and need white people to be racist. Time and time again, I've presented clear and abundant evidence that people like Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk are not racist. And when I present that evidence, they say no. Absolutely not. I will not watch that video. I will not read that article, because I already decided, the media decided for me, that those people are racist. You can't change my mind. I won't watch the video. And that's concerning, because it's kind of like you want them to be racist. You need them to be racist. And there was no hope for a second that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I misconstrued something. Maybe there'll be one less racist in the world. You didn't even think that for a second. You want them to be racist. The real question is why? And my guess is that most Black people have created an identity that revolves around victimhood. It revolves around being oppressed. From childhood, so many of us have had Blackness be the biggest aspect of our identity, and it's always associated with oppression, victimhood, slavery, civil rights.
Actually, they do the same thing with LGBT. It's like that also revolves around some sort of like oppression points, and the more the better. And I think a lot of people are getting out from underneath that rock because they don't want the heaviness of that. They don't want that kind of negative worldview to constantly be weighing on them. And it's not even a real thing to a large degree. A lot of it is made up. It's a social construct. I mean, they love to talk about social constructs, but then here they are participating in them.
Fighting the white man, fighting white supremacy. That is what it's always been associated with. It's like our identity doesn't exist if white people aren't involved. We don't know who we are if we remove racism and white supremacy from the equation. Who are you if you don't have to fight the man? Who are you if you aren't oppressed?
That's actually a really scary but very accurate observation that she's making here, that I think people are lost. They don't have an identity unless it revolves around some kind of negative oppression or negative victimhood. And that is a really big problem, guys. That's a really big problem.
And I think that's what people are grappling with. If you took away all these people that they claim to be racist, all these people that they claim they hate, that are fascist and racist and homophobic, if you actually cleared their names and you realized you didn't have to fight them, what would you be doing with your time? What would you be doing with your life? What is your purpose now? Who are you if you aren't oppressed? Who are you if you aren't the Black victim, the poor, disadvantaged Black girl? Who are you if none of that is relevant anymore? And I think that's what people are scared of. They're scared of having their identity and their worldview absolutely shattered because they won't know who they are. It's going to be a massive ego death. And like, I went through it and I'm better for it. So if you know someone that's on that edge, you better tell them, I'll hold your hand if you jump. Like, it's going to be hard when your worldview absolutely falls to the ground and shatters and you realize that nothing is what you thought it was.
Yeah.
But I'll hold your hand and we can go together. So, Black people, it's time that we let go of this whole everything is racist narrative because it's holding you back. You are oppressing you.
And honestly, that's the same exact way I feel about the LGBT community. I think that to some degree, we're oppressing ourselves. It's actually a really, really insightful message that she has there. And I went through a similar thing. And I think a lot of commentators that do this stuff and people that I've met, some people in my personal life as well, they also knew that they were going to lose friends, knew that they were going to be criticized, knew that they were going to be put on the chopping block, so to speak, because they started to shift away from some of these concepts that are not really helping anybody in the long game of life. So for me, I got out from under it and it wasn't easy. And that is my message to those of you that are on the fence, that are shocked and appalled about what's going on the left and what happened with Charlie Kirk, but you're just waking up. I just want to say that's okay. It's okay because everybody's on their own timetable with all of this. And I'm not saying that you need to go run and vote conservative in every single election and become a completely different human being. What I'm saying to you is that this situation and the politics of our society today in the here and now, I'm not talking about 20 years ago. I'm not even talking about 5 years ago. I'm talking about today. I'm talking about now. Things are not what they seem. And if you are recognizing that, you are not wrong. This is not normal what's going on. And I said it in my last episode, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it, is that we need to come together with our voices, with love and understanding and with compassion. Truly, period. Doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are, doesn't matter what political party you're assigned to or affiliated with at the moment. We all need to come together. And this is a short clip of Charlie Kirk kind of summing that all up in a nutshell here. And I just need everybody to hear this because I just think it's so pure and it's done with such conviction and such love and compassion for life and for people. And he was a good man and his life was cut off way too short. And this really is the turning point.
You will never be the best version of yourself if you allow other people to convince you that you can't be better because of your skin color, because of your sexual identity, because of the community you came from. You must resist those narratives at all costs if you truly want to be successful in America.
I mean, what else is there to say? You know, you do have to resist these narratives to a degree because they were pushed so hard, too hard for too long. Now, am I saying to you that there's no one in the world that's homophobic? Well, absolutely not. I mean, obviously, we just watched somebody earlier who definitely has a problem with gay people, okay? And it wasn't Charlie Kirk. All right. And maybe it's not good enough for you because Charlie didn't go ahead and say, oh, it's fine that you know, biblically, I think it's okay that 2 men or 2 women get married. I wouldn't want somebody to say something that they didn't believe, first of all. And that's not what he believed. And that's okay. And I'm going to defend his right to say it, even if I don't agree with that belief. That is America. That is free speech. That is what we're supposed to be doing in this world. What are we so afraid of when we don't always agree, right? I think there are some people on the left that are so deeply insecure with themselves And of course, people will say, "Oh, well, what about the right? There's people on the right that are crazy too, and that they're insecure too." Vicky, yeah, I'm sure, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about the right and what the right is doing wrong right now. We've done plenty of that. We've done plenty of ripping the right wing conservative movement apart. We've done a lot of that as people that have been on the left. As a person who used to be on the far left, or I thought I was on the far left, I did a lot of ripping into people on the right, because I'm going to very kindly and respectfully focus on the fact and point out the problems on the left, because there is a mass exodus going on as well. And you're never going to win another election if you don't stop, especially because it's reaching a point of violence and getting rid of people from the planet. That is not going to fly in the United States of America, in Western society. In this beautiful country that we live in, we cannot stand for that kind of bullshit. So that's where I'm at. I'm not going to say I'm far right, I'm left, I'm this, I'm that. I'm done with that. I'm a human being with basic principles. And one of them is I shall not kill. And if people want to come on here and attack me from the left, attack me from the right, you can do whatever you want. But I'm still a human being that's worthy of life and worthy of existence and is worthy of my power to speak as a human being, as are you. I keep coming back to that word oppressed, and it really has just been burned in my mind since I started hearing people say that and accusing Charlie Kirk of it. Charlie Kirk is gone forever, and he's not coming back, but his legacy is going to live on. People are rising up, people are speaking out, and they're telling the truth about Charlie Kirk. They're telling the world that what they're saying is not true. So for as much as Charlie Kirk has ultimately been oppressed because he was unalived, he is still here. He is with us. He is with you. He is with the world. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Please subscribe if you haven't. Share this message with the world, and I'll see you in the next one. And remember, your voice matters.